Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, like we are every Sunday at 10. Talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo team, LPT Realty, joined by JFAB, Josh Fabello, my director of operations on my real estate team. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on in real estate when we aren't on air. Make sure to follow us. I am at the Andrew Duncan on Instagram, and then at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram. X, I should say, instead of Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, pretty much everywhere else out there. Always putting out relevant real estate tips and information. If you're a real estate agent, we're always putting out good stuff to help real estate agents perform and produce in a challenging market. And obviously it is a challenging market, but one of the things I want to talk about, and it's something that's been in the news because, you know, one of the large national real estate brokerages, Compass and Zillow, have been in a lawsuit for coming soon properties and controlling listing syndications. There's been a big dispute between both of them trying to control how real estate listings are advertised, because what's really happened the last few years, and this is probably more prevalent in like the luxury and uber luxury space, but more and more higher end sales are selling off market. You're seeing, we're getting clients coming to us. I mean, we have one this week, you know, says, hey, I want open water, Bayshore, south of Gandy, you know, something really specific. He wants a certain price point, and we're out there hunting it and getting sellers to call us back. And you know, the interesting thing is that a lot of people in that price range, maybe they don't really want to sell, but if they get the right price, right? You know, they're successful, they're multimillionaires, and look, there's always a price that someone's willing to move. And the buyers in that price range, fortunately, also have that flexibility where, you know what, whether it's, you know, 7 million, 9 million, 11 million, they've got it, right? And so for them, it's more of a convenience and a desire to accomplish something than it necessarily always is making sure that the property's worth it. Because when you get into the higher end estates, really challenging to comp those and value those. You know, you'll you know, it's like sometimes they're one of one, and it's like, okay, there's nothing else in Tampa that's fitting this, right? So. But, and Josh, you can speak to this because it's happening across all price ranges, though. Even though it really, I think, prevalent out on the West Coast. You hear it a lot in like LA, Beverly Hills, Hollywood real estate, celebrities selling their stuff off market. And now you see it much more, it's trickled down into other price ranges and across the country. And we're seeing it pretty regularly here where we're representing clients or selling houses internally, where we've got the seller's ready to go market, and we have a buyer too, and deals happen before homes ever hit the market. So it's a lot more prevalent than it was maybe just a few years ago.
So true. Yeah, we're seeing a huge uptick in that, actually. We've done quite a few deals this year already, starting out in January and February, that we've had people coming in. We're not even getting the properties listed yet. Yeah, we're not even getting the photos done.
We have a high end home, a little below $3 million price range on Texas Avenue in the Hyde Park area, and we have offers on it already, and it's 2 months from completion. It's not even done yet. So it's interesting that you know, you hear these statistics about, oh, the real estate market's this or the real estate market's that. And I know this week national real estate stats came out, and it said that, you know, home sales were off of the estimates and off year over year nationally, right? And, you know, I'm a big opponent of paying attention to national real estate stats because they don't really tell the true story. Right. Even local real estate stats can be off, right? Like, you know, Josh, where do you live again? What's your neighbor? What part of town? Riverview. Yeah. Yep. So in Riverview, the market could be on fire. And then it may be doing not as great in St. Pete, you know, 20, 30 miles away. And people don't understand that Tampa Bay's got this really broad geographic area. And, you know, you might hear your neighbor's house absolutely fly off the shelf, and then you're wondering why your home isn't selling. And it's because real estate is super hyper local. And it also varies the strategies that you use to sell a $10 million estate property compared to a $500,000 you know, house in Fishhawk are two completely different things, right? They're and so they're also two completely different markets. What may be doing really well in one isn't necessarily doing really well in another. And I do believe that when the January stats come out, we'll see that I believe Tampa Bay is going to buck that trend and perform better than the rest of the country. The stats haven't come out yet, but I
We're
believe
feeling it already,
in our business, we're definitely feeling it. Like
it.
we're busier. Our mortgage company at Citywide Tampa.com is seeing more pre-approvals.
Yep.
We're seeing more activity on our listings. We're having stuff sell before it comes off market. We're getting buyers coming to us, like I mentioned before, and saying, hey, I want to buy, but what I want isn't necessarily available, right? And so when I hear people say that, oh, inventory is high, it can be argued that that is the case nationally, but when you drill down into specific niches of the market, it isn't the case.
No,
there are segments of the market where the inventory is light, where you have to go find the inventory. And if you're a home buyer right now and you're not working with an agent that is going out and hunting to find off-market opportunities, you might have the wrong agent. We have agents that do it every day. And the unique thing about how we're set up as a company is when those customers come in with those unique needs, we want to match them with the right agent, right? Like, so if somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for something, and we have an agent that's really more their niche, or that's the area of town that they live in, so they can go canvass neighborhood or drive around or do those things, that large agent base gives us that flexibility to be able to align the customer with the right person.
So true.
And so, Josh, when you kind of see, some of the off-market stuff too, again, and I said this in our meeting this week, I said, as an agent, you can't wait on the magical MLS marketing machine. You've got to go out and hunt and find the opportunities for your clients. And we have a lot of agents doing just that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a really cool thing about our team is that we leverage AI, I think probably more so than any other team right now. And we were able to track down properties that nobody else has access to.
Yeah, and the data that we get access to with some of our software partners, the Palantir type data.
Yeah,
like we know, like, we can go into our system, and especially after having been in the business for 20 years, we've got the databases of a few 100,000 people, so we can look and see who's opted into communication, who hasn't, who lives where, what their mortgage is, and then fine tune that criteria to say, hey, this is what our client is looking for. Do we know someone that we've helped or that has been on our website that has this criteria where we can kind of match that? And so for sellers, it's helpful because, look, there's no secret that if a real estate agent puts a deal together off market, there could be some savings for the home seller. The real estate agent isn't going through the process of marketing and spending dollars, and so there's a potential savings there when you go to somebody that can help you find a buyer. And it's what we do. It's part of our process with every listing. We would love to find the buyer before it goes on the market. We have a huge database. Those are things that we're doing as part of our process of properly marketing the home. And certainly it's always the seller's choice. The seller can sometimes decide, yeah, I'll take that off market offer, or you know what, I want to go on the market and see if I can beat it, see if there's better out there. And it's, I'm a firm believer in seller's choice. I don't love the conversation about, I don't love when the MLS or Zillow or some of these other entities try and dictate what's best for the seller. What's best for the seller is what the seller freaking wants. That's what they have enough data at their fingertips. We're not the gatekeepers of the data anymore. I'm sorry. Like, I can go on to Grok, on any AI chat. I can go on Claude, Chat GPT. Yep. I can get the data. The data, we can't gatekeep the data anymore. So, but we're still acting like it as an organization, as an industry, and customers are going to get that information and data whether we are the conduit for it or not. Sure. So in my opinion, oftentimes, we run into these obstacles where the powers that be, the boards, they want to have as many as they can as far as agents paying dues, because they don't make more money if I sell more real estate. They make more money when they have a lot more people.
Correct.
So so it's always interesting when I see, we're pro agent. You're pro agent count.
Right.
There's a difference. And so in my opinion, we're pro, we're pro productive agent and we're pro customer choice.
Correct.
And at LPT, we're pro agent choice. We want to provide the conduit for the customer. And Josh, you've seen this firsthand as both an experienced agent and then on the operations side, how often an off-market deal is the right thing for a client.
It really is. I love seeing a deal come together like that because one, the seller, it makes us look like rock stars because here we are, we have our database of buyers out there and they go, man, God, you already brought me an offer. We haven't gone to the market yet. And they can still choose at that point. They still want to test the market or not, or take the deal. And oftentimes, a lot of our sellers, they want the best value, and they want probably the quickest timeline.
Convenience matters.
Convenience is huge.
And
Amazon
so
days.
You look at these enormous companies that have come out and turned into iBuyers, and if net profit and the net number delivered to the seller was the only thing that mattered, those companies wouldn't exist.
Right.
I wouldn't buy investment property. I wouldn't buy cash offer homes that we buy through our fund that we buy directly from customers. I wouldn't have those. Like customers value convenience, and so that the solution needs to be there for it. So it'll be interesting to see how all that shakes out in the lawsuit, and how it trickles down to boards and MLSs and the regulatory stuff in the industry. But I'm just a firm believer in an open market, agent choice, customer choice. If a customer doesn't want their house going on the market and they have an incredible estate and they just want us to hunt and track down a buyer, or if a buyer says, hey, I've worked with agents and they're not helping me find what's out there because there's nothing out there and they're just waiting for the magical MLS marketing machine to shoot out listings, we'll go find it. We'll go hunt it for you.
We will.
And we've had success doing that. Lots of transactions, millions and millions of dollars of transactions finding properties. We've found $7 million to transactions that were off market. We've done several multi-million-dollar deals off market where the customer had a unique taste and need, and what was out there didn't exist. So, and Josh, being our operations manager, I think that's one thing I also want to touch on too is how different it is to work with a real estate company where the administrative support for the transaction. It's like a lawyer with a paralegal. A lawyer is really good at arguing and statutes and documents. They may not be necessarily great at the details. And
Correct.
That's the approach of our operations team.
It really is. From the top down, you've got me, you've got our transaction coordinators, listing coordinators. We're all making sure that the deal is going through. You're not just dealing with your agent, which is who you hire,
right?
But the support staff behind that is making sure everything else gets done, the inspections, the appraisals. That way, everything's a seamless process. So once you close, you're like, wow, that was an easy thing. Which, if you look at our reviews, you'll see a lot of that.
For almost 1,500 5-star reviews on Google. And again, it's a lot of the process oriented stuff. And so speaking of that, it's also the problem solving, right? We know that's the biggest obstacle with real estate transactions. And I think that's where a lot of real estate agents are weak. They're great salespeople. They're great at finding the right property. But when it gets down into the problem solving, that's where we excel.
We do excel. And the reason why we excel is because we do so many transactions. We've seen it all.
Yeah.
We still get surprised from time to time, but man, we have seen it all. We are able to come up with alternatives, get things done, and I love it. Our team is so crafted with that. I love that. Yeah, and it's the same thing that we talk about when even in some of our ads, the experience, it matters. And that is one thing that I want to position to real estate agents that might be listening on our next segment after the break. I want to talk about how that matters to real estate agents, just like it does to the customer, because it helps them sell more. So we're going to continue that conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team at the Duncan Duo on all social channels. Josh Fabello, Director of Operations for my real estate team. And Josh, we were talking before the break. Spent the first segment talking about off-market homes and how that is a compelling thing that's happening across all price ranges. More prevalent in higher-end homes, but certainly it's happening across all price ranges where we're selling homes that either don't hit the market or we're just matchmaking. We're going out and hunting to find the home for the buyer that has a unique need or isn't finding what they want. And so speaking of that, though, we talked about the operations side of our team and how they're focused on problem solving. And it's valuable for the customer, but I mentioned it after 21 years in the business, there's a weakness that a lot of real estate agents have, and it's that skill set of problem solving that they're not good at, that a specific personality
that sits at a desk all day, whose sole goal is solving all of these things and mediating these processes, and has the right temperament for it, is using the right systems, right? And does hundreds of transactions a year to navigate all these problems. So experience comes into play compared to an agent that does 5 deals a year, 10 deals a year, manages them all themselves. They're just not getting the at-bats to figure out how to solve the problems. And so, why don't you speak about that a little bit, about how valuable that is as for a real estate agent thinking about joining our team? Because, a lot of times they look at it and say, oh, well, I want leads, but they don't realize how much time they're spending on things that are not dollar productive.
Yeah, it's something I always like to talk about in one of our onboarding classes is that you have the greatest opportunity when you join our team to think about you have a business. You're running a business, but you're not upfronting any of the capital cost. You don't have to worry about any of that. All the systems are in place. You already have you as the trailblazer ahead of us that set everything up. We have all the software, the systems. And you have the support with the staff. So you come in there, your job is just, let's get you in there on the phones. Let's get you motivated. Let's get you making appointments and going on listings and not have to deal with everything else because we handle that for you.
Yeah, and I think people, and again, when you look at the per agent productivity on our team compared to the per agent productivity average in the market, the average agent last year, look, they said like 70+% didn't even sell a house.
Right.
And I want to say the average in Tampa was like 3 or 4 transactions. They would have, most of them would have been better off getting a job working somewhere.
Correct.
Like when they factor in all the money that they spent to generate the leads, the dues, all of that stuff, that, a lot of that stuff gets wiped out when you join a team like ours, because we have the multi-million-dollar marketing budget and the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year spent on systems and tech and an office building and a location and, all of those things. The agent themselves doesn't. You take, like you said, it takes them off the plate. That's why our average income is higher and our agents are more productive, because they don't have to deal with a lot of the noise and a lot of the stuff that they're not going to be good at anyway.
Right, and that's the other thing is that people don't. Not everybody's a business leader. They can't run a business. They just set them a task. Tell me how I can do this, and that's why they.
And how can I make more money?
How can I make more money?
Yeah.
It's really get on the phones.
Yeah, it's
everything else we take care of for you.
It's set appointments, it's go on appointments, it's meet with clients, and when you're not dealing with all the details and the minutia of the transactions, you're not getting sucked in. And I see a lot of real estate agents, because they don't have a transaction coordinator. Their income is a roller coaster.
And look at our agent just before we got on the radio show today.
Yeah.
She set 4 appointments.
Yeah.
Before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we had somebody set 4 listing appointments before 10 o'clock this morning. It was all text message asking for our, and in addition to that, she didn't have to do any of the documents.
No, we do all the documents for her.
She's like, here's the addresses. I need the documents in an hour. Our assistant's behind the scenes preparing all that and sending it to her. But the other thing that's cool though is the experience level that the agent gets, the ability to kind of eliminate all of the details, and then more money they get to take home to their families, because they don't realize how much time, energy, and money they're spending on those things. Yep. They don't have to master all those things. So there are a lot of agents out there that are clearly making less money than they would if they were on a team like ours, because they're and again, sometimes ego gets in the way. They want to do it themselves. They think they can do it themselves. But I always tell people, like, what matters more to you, the ego of your face on the sign or your name on your own website, or the money you bring home to your family?
Exactly.
And it's the answer should be the money you bring home to your family, right? And so it takes a unique personality that's willing to take on that risk and that financial cost and the burden of going through years of losing money and having setbacks and trying things until things work, and then taking on those huge expenses and those huge risks that a lot of agents don't have to do no agents have to do when they join our team. And so we are hiring. We did a big deal with Realtor.com. We've increased our advertising on radio. We're doing more TV stuff. You see us at the Lightning games, our billboards. If you're interested in applying as an agent, jointheduo.com. Again, that's jointheduo.com. But I want to make clear what we don't want. All right. So if you want to be a part-time agent, not for us. If you don't really want to work, like if you just want money to rain from the ceiling, like if you just think getting into real estate is like a get-rich-quick scheme, 80% of real estate agents fail. Yep. And 70% didn't do a deal, and the majority of them have an income below the poverty line. Sure. Like because a lot of them don't work. So if you want to work and be coachable, you can make a ton of money. We can help you grow. Eventually, grow to the point where maybe you do start your own business, but you've got to start at a place where you have an opportunity to succeed. And far too many agents go and join a brokerage that doesn't provide a lot of those things, and then they have to do all of it, and they're trying to do too much and they fail out. So we're hiring. We're looking to hire agents. Again, it's jointheduo.com. And we're going to be back, continue this conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team, at the Duncan Duo on X, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much every single social media channel out there at the Duncan Duo. Josh Fabello, JFab, Director of Operations at our real estate team. Also a very productive agent for us. That's one of the cool things that I really love about you in the role, is that, you know, in prior iterations of our company, when we had somebody in operations, they weren't really an experienced agent. Right. So they kind of lost touch. They didn't do production. Yep. They kind of lost touch of what it's like to go through a real estate transaction. And I even preach this to team leaders, and I still do this myself. Team leaders and people that own brokerages need to do a deal here and there, because they need to get in the trenches. They need to show their people they're willing to do it, but it keeps them familiar with things. It keeps them up to date. It reminds them of things that are changing in the industry.
True. It's an itch too.
Yeah, for sure.
You're in sales. You never get rid of that.
Right.
You always have to feel like
100%. And I think you having that experience and still working with customers, still being a productive agent for us. But I wanted to, we talked in the first couple segments. We talked about off-market opportunities. We also talked about in our last segment what we're looking for with agents, like how we can provide an opportunity for agents because of the uniqueness of our brand. But I saw a stat recently, and I think this is another reason we excel. And the stat was that home sale cancellations were the highest it ever been. And I get why. I mean, it's pretty simple to explain why. It is the higher rates. Prices haven't come down that much, so taxes have gone up, insurance has gone up, so there's more economic pressure, right? So the customer is more afraid, right? Correct. They have fear. We had hurricanes, right? So our market just has a lot of tense, tenseness to it. So when you have that tenseness in the marketplace, it causes consumers to not necessarily always act logically and more act emotionally or irrationally, and fear. Cancel deals out of fear where maybe they should buy the house, where maybe those repairs just need to be explained better because they're not something you should kill a deal over, and what ends up happening, a lot of the cancellations, in my opinion, are done mistakenly. Of course, there are times where we're representing a client and we need to get them out of the deal. Right. Like there's structural damage. The place is infested with termites that can't be cured. There's wood rot everywhere. The roof is shot and the seller won't take care of it. There's foundational issues. There's, like Chinese drywall we had back in the day, like mold. Like there are reasons why you should get a client out. But most of the cancellations that I see are a mistake.
Sometimes they're petty.
They're super petty, and ego gets in the way. Yep. And here's what happens: the ego gets in the way, and they want a perfect house. Yep. Okay, unfortunately, they want a perfect house because they've been trained that they can click a button and filter everything on social media, make them look perfect. I mean, I meet a lot of people today that I don't recognize from social media. It's like, You're not the same
Did
person.
you look at my profile?
It's like I don't know who you are. Like, who are you? You look nothing like on Facebook. It's prevalent.
Just want my beard darker.
So again, society has we've got this AI filter layer over society. And this social gratification where there are people who will literally post something on social media, and if it doesn't get enough likes or comments, they will delete it.
Yeah, delete it. Redo it again with new filter.
And so my point is the consumer buying the property wants that inspection report, and when they open up that inspection report, what they want it to be is they want rainbows and sunshine and unicorns and fairy tales, and they want to be able to press a button and filter that inspection report, and it just doesn't work that way.
Yep.
And when they read that inspection report, they think the house that they're buying is trash. They think it's horrible. When in reality, if you translate it out, maybe you run it through AI, or you talk to your agent and they explain, and then the agent lets you talk to the inspector or a contractor, and you figure out what the cost to cure those items is. Most of the time, the dollar amount to cure those items is less than what it's going to end up costing them to go back out, spend another inspection, potentially another appraisal, the time, energy, and effort to find another house, and then the potential that either rates could be higher or they may not get as good of a deal. And now you're dealing with your second choice and not your first one.
Correct.
So people they literally act irrationally and logically, and that is really common right now. So on our team, we obviously have the transaction coordinators to help navigate through that. They're experienced at doing what they can to try and help customers get through the transaction, kind of coach them on experience. Of course, the agents are still there too, but that extra layer of support helps customers get the data and the information they need.
It does. It's nice having the so the buyer agents that I happen to work with right now, they always come to us for advice, and there's so many ways to say for skin a cat. We've had people wanting to cancel with our buyer's agents for little things. I mean, things that honestly, it could be fixed for a couple $100s, and that's it. And that's their dream home. They want to be in Old Northeast in St. Pete, but oh no, it's an older bungalow style home. Yeah, well, of course it's going to have those little bit of issues.
Every house
has something.
The only house I've ever seen that doesn't have that has a clean inspection report is the one that isn't built yet.
That's so true. Yeah, because we've done new construction.
There's issues.
There's issues there too.
Yeah,
it's
always.
Nothing. There's no perfect home.
No, even in an unlimited budget, there's going to be mistakes. It's a man-made product. And so simply, like you said, how to navigate through that, right? Like an agent obviously can help. But then again, the support staff that's done hundreds and hundreds of transactions that has navigated through these scenarios that can help resolve problems, our cancellation rate isn't as high because we're helping customers make better choices. But again, we see it all the time. Mathematically, it does not make financial sense for them to cancel the house. And man, one of the things I still remember about the Great Recession was how many customers I saw that irrationally canceled transactions and raised their price by 30-40% because they wanted a clean inspection report that they weren't going to get even on that higher price. Going from back then, going from 200 to 300, it was still going to be stuff.
Yeah.
And going from 300 to 400, 405, there's still going to be stuff wrong.
We've seen it all.
You almost have to see the inspection report as like the blueprint for what you need to do in your first year of ownership.
Right. I look at it as like, unless it's a major component item, it's just maintenance items.
Yep.
Those are things you're going to take care of. The same thing, you buy a used car.
Yep.
You're going to have to do maintenance.
You're going to change the oil.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put new tires on.
Brake pads.
Or if they're a car person like you and I, maybe need to do PPF.
Right.
Maybe need to
take care of that paint.
Coat maybe you need to ceramic coat it. Maybe it needs a tune. Maybe it needs downpipes.
And sometimes these analogies help.
But no, the reality is that so many customers make that mistake and they kill a deal.
They do.
And then they end up overspending. They go to the second or the third house, and they finally give up and settle on the third house when it wasn't really the one that they wanted in the first place, that they should have just found a way to make the first one work. The other thing that I see that I think, again, kind of going back to that same mistake, I taught a class, but I brought this up in our meeting this week. There are ways a really good real estate agent can help the customer get all of the information that they need to make the right choice. I talked about that this week. In commercial real estate, all the due diligence is done up front.
Correct.
In residential real estate, it's ass backwards. Like you're literally like doing stuff, and then it's like 3 days before the closing, you're getting insurance and the appraisal. It's like,
why?
What?
Why are we waiting that long?
So I'm a big proponent of getting the inspection, the appraisal, and the insurance all done during the inspection period. Look, and some people might say, well, but now you're going to have them spend on the inspection. Well, or spend on the appraisal. What if the inspection was so bad that, what if they had $30,000 in equity? Is the inspection really bad now?
Right.
You're making choices when you don't have all the data. Like as a business person, like I don't want to make decisions without all the information.
Yeah.
Like I want all the information. If I'm buying a house and let's say there's $5,000 to $10,000 in repairs on a $500,000 house, which isn't that uncommon, it's probably a little high, but then I find out that my $500,000 house appraised at $540,000. I'm probably a little less concerned about the $10,000 in repairs I have to make because I got a really good deal on the house.
Walking in equity.
But then you don't ever find that out if you wait till the end to do the appraisal, or you wait to do to insurance. And then the insurance says, oh, we need something else, or we need this, or we need this done. Right. And then you got to go back to the seller. You know how many times deals cancel because the seller gets frustrated about how many times the buyer goes back to them? They want something done at inspection. Then they want something done at appraisal. And then, oh, wait, guess what? We got some insurance issue. Do it all up front. Like I coach our agents to do to get all the contingencies cleared as soon as you can. Yep. And that will provide for a smoother process. Now, there are times where that doesn't make sense for the customer, where maybe they're intending on renegotiating, or, they believe there's a fatal flaw with the house, or they believe they're getting a good enough deal so they don't need it. But for the most part, I'm a firm believer that when I sell my real estate, I sell homes that I own every month. Like we're constantly buying homes directly from customers that we're renovating in our fund and then reselling for a profit. And when I'm selling my real estate, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, no, I want all of this information up front. I don't want to have to renegotiate with you 3 times. I want it all cleared and out of the way. The other thing is it creates less anxiety for the seller. The seller's making choices once. Then there's not this thing at the end where they could get a rug pull.
Right. It could fall apart on them.
It could still fall apart, but you're doing what you can to try and prevent it from falling apart. So I'm a big proponent of all that stuff getting done up front.
Yep. Financing contingency is the same thing. Get it closer to, not wait till the end. I see that too.
Yep.
With agents.
Get it out of the way. Yeah. And again, you want to protect your customer. And again, when you're negotiating on behalf of the buyer or negotiating on behalf of the seller, your strategy is obviously going to depend on who you're working with. But in my opinion, I believe it's a better way. I believe it helps bulletproof real estate transactions. And then it gives all the parties all of the information. Yep. Because I see people cancel deals over a few $1,000s in repairs and they were getting a killer deal. That if they would have known it was going to appraise, 5 or 10% above that price, would they have killed the deal over a couple thousand in repairs if the appraisal came back above their negotiated price, right? And
probably not.
So, and similarly, insurance. Right? Like you have something happen towards the end where they need something extra with insurance, or insurance costs more. Wouldn't you, like we've had buyers walk when they find out at the end that their mortgage lender, now they didn't go to citywidetampa.com for this one, but their mortgage lender misquoted them on insurance, and they believed the mortgage lender's quote on insurance. So they get to the end and they found out, oh, the insurance isn't $2,000, it's $4,000. And now their escrow is at risk because their financing contingencies expired and they want to blow up the deal and they might lose their $5,000 in escrow. Like all the while, if they would have done it up front and got it done during the due diligence period, they had an out.
Yep.
So that, again, that's my belief in a smoother real estate transactions, better for all parties, is forgetting about how the norm may be and doing what makes more logical sense.
Right.
So that's something that we encourage. Again, it's still the customer's choice. We're just making a recommendation. We're explaining the pros and the cons. But I, if I'm buying real estate or I'm selling real estate, I would rather have all the information before I make all those decisions. Like, am I going to make a whole bunch of repairs and then get beat up on the appraisal too? No. No. Like I'm not, like, especially if their repairs aren't something that are really a big deal, or that aren't 4-point, where the next buyer can buy the house, and maybe that buyer doesn't even care about those things, So it's like, you're gonna have me jump through these hoops. Let's do it once. Let's dance once. That's it. So anyway, we're gonna be back, continue this conversation. We're gonna get to know Josh a little bit more in our last segment. Our last segment is just getting to know. He's gonna be on the show again. He's doing a great job running the operations on my team. So I'm gonna interview Josh after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show. Andrew Duncan, Duncan Duo team at the Duncan Duo. DuncanDuo.com if you want a quick cash offer want to know your home value estimate, or you just want to set an appointment, get your home on the market with one of our listing agents. Again, DuncanDuo.com. So we have Josh Fabello from my real estate team. Josh, why don't you tell our listeners, you're going to be on the show again. Tell our listeners a little bit about you.
Oh, man. I am a Tampa native through and through. Parents came here back in the 60s from Cuba. Grew up in the cigar business, which I still love dearly. My family's business is the Tampa Sweethearts Cigars in Ybor City. They're selling all Fuente cigars. So I am still a cigar smoker.
Yeah.
But got into real estate because I was traveling a lot, and it was just not conducive to home life.
Not conducive to having a family.
No, it's just not. So I found real estate nearly 10 years ago and loved it, and still was like weaning off the cigar business into the real estate. And I just fell in love more and more and more. And then 2 years ago, I've known about Andrew Duncan. Everybody knows Andrew Duncan if you've been in real estate in the Tampa Bay area. And I joined the team because I wanted to level up. I always did a decent, like 3 or 4 or 5 deals, like every other agent.
Yeah.
And then I realized, man, there's so much upfront cost. It's like it's running your own business, which I've done before. And I said, man, let me just take this step. And when I joined the team, I was like, holy cow, this is complete. Everything's there.
Yeah.
That's the
number of leads too. I think is
what's our favorite thing to say? Game changer.
Game changer. Everybody says game changer. It's too much.
So the game changer for me, or the eye-opening aha, was when I joined the team, and it's like, oh, Josh, you just make the calls, and make the sales. And I go, okay. And we started doing that, and I started seeing the success.
And you were
from
crushing
that.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had great years. The last 2 years have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's evolved now.
Now he's promoted into leadership at the company, so he's helping coach agents. He's running our operations staff, and still doing a sale here and there as well.
Yeah, we just got we put a new listing out. What was it? Old Northeast area in St. Pete. Within 3 days, we had a full price,
which was priced
offer.
at $865. Put it under contract, and that was one of those where we had the buyer. We had the buyer internally, and so
we barely had it out there.
It was out 3 days, which is, again, the consumer.
We got the offer day one.
The consumer always, both of those consumers won because the buyer wanted it because they didn't want to sit out there and have competition show up, and the seller wanted they wanted their price, but they wanted convenience too. No seller says, oh, I am so excited about having my house set on the market for months.
Right. And entertain showings after showings after showings.
No seller is excited about that.
I have to leave my house again.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's excited about that. So convenience is key in selling their home fast. And that's definitely an approach that we follow. And so Josh, you're also a car guy like me.
Oh my God.
You love his car goal. He's got it up in the office. He's got a plaque of it, is an old school JDM Acura NSX, which is what year? 94 to 98?
I'm down with any of that. Yeah, 95, 98. That would be the 6-speed black. It's going to be red with maybe the black top or the Target. It really depends.
Yeah, he's got the red NSX up in his office in many spots. So we've talked about how we're going to get him there. We're going to get him that car. I'm obviously a car junkie, and I even joked that I will, because he wants the car too. I want an NSX too. I don't know that I want a red one. Personally,
Midnight Purple.
I do. The Midnight Purples are cool, but they go for crazy money.
Yeah, I saw one.
They go for crazy money. I mean, it would be really cool to have one, super collectible, and they hold value really well. I'm on the hunt for a GT2 RS right now. I've obviously texted with you, but the one that I found was a scam. But Josh, a car guy like me, so you'll see him at different car events, and
that's what we're going to start doing too, right?
Yeah, we are. We're working on some Cars and Coffee. We're also talking to a couple different organizations about sponsoring some stuff. I've done a lot of that in the past because I already go, and I'm part of the Drivers Club at Motor Enclave. So I go. I have track time every Sunday. I don't go every Sunday. I go probably every other Sunday-ish.
So what's the car you're liking the most on the track right now?
Ooh, that's a great question. So the Ford GT was amazing. Like, they were surprised. They were scared of that car on the track because they're like, nobody tracks like $1 million cars. Like, no one puts these out here. I was like, well, look, if I'm going to do it, like, I'm going to do it. So they were a little nervous. In fact, like, they didn't have anyone else out on the track at the same time.
They took everybody.
They took everybody off, and so and then I did the same. I tracked it at the St. Pete Grand Prix.
Oh, we did that last year,
which we did last year. We don't get it this year, but nonetheless, we tracked it at that last year. So that car is the right car for that environment. It's a little overpowered. Like, it's got more power in it, but like it handles incredibly well.
It was
it's just
flat when we drove.
Yeah, super flat. It handles incredibly well. The one that I drive the most though would be my 458. Yeah, my Ferrari 458. Nice. It's the right power band. It's naturally aspirated, so you don't have as many issues with traction and turbo boost and tuning, and it's just the right car for that track.
For that track. Drive that last year.
It's
on the track on the same feet.
Yep. It's the right car for that. It's the sounds it makes. I like that it's analog. You know, I mean, I've got cars that have all the digital and the tech and the all-wheel drive and quattro, but that car is just a cool car to drive. And truthfully, it's the one I'm most comfortable on that track.
Okay.
I've taken multiple cars I own on it. But it's the one that I think is the right car for that track.
Overall well balanced for it.
Yeah, I think so. But it's fun. It's a good group of guys. So I've been doing that for a while, and so you'll see us sponsoring different car events. You'll see Josh out there, and we're gonna get him out there in his NSX.
That's
when we help him buy it. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. We'd love to help you. Hit us up at DuncanDuo.com if you're a real estate agent looking for a career upgrade. You want to make more money this year. Hit us up at jointheduo.com and have an awesome rest of your Sunday, Tampa Bay.